I'm told, I hear, I've seen the first episode, but Agatha is the gayest Marvel project yet. Do you agree?
It better be, because that's what I signed up for.
All right, so they're doing it again. They're doing it again here with Agatha all along, and I feel like the media has to bear a lot of responsibility for this, and that is trying to set this show up for some sort of cultural fight on the internet, some sort of social fight about being called the gayest show that Marvel has ever made. However, this isn't the first clip that I have seen where they're on the red carpet and they're asking people involved with Agatha who are coming through this red carpet or purple carpet experience what they think about the show being called the gayest show ever. And here, as we scroll through social media, we can see this question being asked to multiple people associated with the production of the series. Now, look, I love the idea that the show is going to be the gayest Marvel show ever. I mean, Kathryn Hahn is in fact a legitimate gay icon because of her portrayal of Agatha on WandaVision. The Agatha All Along song went to the top of the iTunes charts, amassing over 1.7 million plays within the first day, right after it came out on the show, making it a bona fide success story. So it was in fact a no-brainer that they would approach Marvel about doing an Agatha spin-off series. Although we didn't know what it was going to be about, it absolutely made sense. Even though it is a smaller, more niche audience, it is an audience that actually wants the show to happen. And after hearing all of the bullies online come out with the lazy question, who asked for this, in some sort of like demeaning way towards the show, I scroll through looking that phrase up and I see a lot of people reclaiming that phrase and saying, look, we wanted to see the show. We asked for the show. But I want to remind you guys that you don't have to ask for something for it to end up being popular or being valid. Who was asking for Guardians of the Galaxy when that came out? A trilogy of movies regarded as some of the best things you can find in the MCU. And I don't remember anyone at that time asking for Guardians of the Galaxy. Also, as expected, they're already calling the show a flop, a DEI project, all of these awful things as you go through and look at the early reviews, and I have not seen one absolutely scathing review yet. Everyone's calling it very good to extremely well done. Agatha All Along first reaction, Kathryn Hahn's Marvel return hailed as bewitching, deliciously devious, and batshit crazy in all the right kind of ways. And Agatha All Along, Joe Locke works like a charm. The first reactions to Agatha All Along are over the full moon. Solid reviews for the series. There's no reason for them to be so upset about this, but we're going to react to a video from Geeks and Gamers, from Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, where he's upset about it being called the gayest Marvel series yet. Before we watch this video together, I want to say if you go on to enjoy this video, if you enjoy this kind of content and you like debunking a lot of the bullies and grifters here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel and help change the algorithm for the better. Hit the subscribe button, leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below, and if you want to support the channel another way and get some cool custom badges and emojis for the live streams and in the comment section, please hit the join tier and consider joining and supporting the content. With that being said, let's get into this. The first thing I want to point out is the pseudo slur that Acolyte is becoming within the grifty bully chud space. And I saw this happening. As soon as the Acolyte was canceled by Disney, I knew that that term would go on to become synonymous with some sort of like demeaning or distressing, devaluing process for other shows. So now we have the Acolyte being used as a new slur from these bullies towards any show or project they don't like, even if it doesn't make a lot of sense. I have a lot more to say about that, but let's watch the video and maybe I'll be able to cover it there.
Wokeness is a disease, and even when you're trying to treat it, it still has effects everywhere. We're not even a month out of The Acolyte being canceled because it was woke garbage and no one was interested in it. And
that is not why it was canceled. This is them again using woke, weaponizing woke because that's all they have. These guys don't understand media. They are media illiterate. These are media illiterate individuals. They are pushing a narrative. They are trying to get you to believe something by repeating it over and over and over again. There are many properties that came out over the last 2 years that were considered woke for them, and they were all extremely profitable. So there is no causality for the Acolyte being quote unquote woke in regards to it being canceled. There were other issues with that show, but they'll never talk about that because it's much easier to just brand something woke. Agatha All Along, literally no one in this cast, Kathryn Hahn doesn't even really use social media. No one in this cast has done anything at all. They've not poked the bear against any of these bullies whatsoever. It is simply a series based on a character that is loved by the queer community, a very diverse cast of people coming out with a project that is really kind of made for that audience. However, they can't stand things being made for someone other than themselves because they value representation. Even though they say they don't, they absolutely 100% do. Let's continue.
It was advertised as the gayest Star Wars ever. Remember those clips? The gayest Star Wars?
Wasn't advertised as. When people say things like this in interviews, they are not advertising it as that. Advertising is a very specific thing where the company goes out of their way to pay for some sort of promotion, branding, things like that. Things said in interviews may be promotional from the standpoint of the people involved with it, but it is not paid advertising. That again is an insidious sort of like weird way to frame it.
You both, because this is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin.
See, they didn't even say it. The interviewer says it, and they're laughing about it. Not advertising. It's from a media outlet.
And are you excited about that? Are you
Not the
bracing
gayest
yourself?
Star Wars. Not the
It's pretty gay, let's be honest. Leslie, how do you feel?
Am I gay? Yes.
Well, no, I know.
Which, by the way, that doesn't even make any sense. If you watch The Acolyte, you'll see that the only real gay references in it are two of the characters in the Witches Coven. No one else on the show really expresses any sort of queerness overtly, and even the stuff with the Witches Coven was not overt enough for me, in my opinion, for it to be considered actual representation. I would have wanted more. If you're going to do that, I would have asked for actually more content that. I've gone on the record saying this, that I feel like they played it very safe with that in comparison. And the Chuds still got mad. The Bullies still got mad.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm asking, are you excited about putting this, this is going to be a talking point?
Is it going to be a talking point?
I'm sure so.
Because nerds are gay.
Well,
Yeah.
well, some nerds are
There
very
are
not
gay
gay and
nerds.
are very threatened by gay
Well, that's
stuff.
true. But
Exactly.
in my world, nerds are gay.
Was this the fun element of
No, I don't think so. And yet people have told me that it's the gayest Star Wars, and I'm frankly
You're offended?
into it. No.
I think that Star Wars is so gay already.
Okay.
I mean, have you seen the fits? We'd be like, look how gay this is, and then
See, the thing about it is you can't even be a queer person or someone who is not heterosexual, like anybody under the queer umbrella, anybody outside of that bubble, and have moments of humor and jokes. You can't do it. Because we are told constantly that as the left or as progressives, we don't understand humor. But then when we have our own humor, our own jokes that we make, all of a sudden then it's deadly serious to these guys and they take every single word as bond and all of it is it's just real and it's reality to them. It's not supposed to be humor. Clearly the two of them are joking in this interview. The actual person doing the interview is sort of having fun with this. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
send each other a reference photo.
And are you telling me with a straight face that C-3PO is straight?
They're a couple. That's what I think. But this is more outward.
I think it's canon that R2-D2 is a lesbian.
Oh,
Ooh.
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Ask Filoni. Okay.
Ask for
Can you imagine?
Well, how did
None of that was serious. Jeremy, get a fucking sense of humor. Stop being a snowflake. Stop being a snowflake, bro. Laugh a little bit.
that work out? Cancellation. Well, now we have Agatha All Along, the new Marvel Cinematic Universe Disney.
Which, by the way, I want to reiterate that now the Acolyte is being set up as a pseudo slur against other properties. That is the framing here. We're going to see this moving forward, just like we did with Captain Marvel, Brie Larson for a while. Anything that comes out that threatens these guys, that makes them feel insecure about their masculinity, insecure about their heterosexuality, they're going to frame it as a woke series and use the Acolyte as a representation of what happens when queer people make content. Because you have one example now, and you're going to run that example into the ground because you have to create the narrative. You guys have to create the narrative. That is on you. It's not on anybody else, because I don't think anybody else believes that something that is queerly made, is that even a term, queerly made, that is made by queer people has to be inherently bad. That just doesn't make any sense in any reality.
Plus series, and guess what their marketing campaign is? You guessed it, ladies and gentlemen. Roll the footage.
I'm told, I've seen the first episode, but Agatha is the gayest Marvel project yet. Do you agree?
It better be, because that's what I signed up for.
Again, not a marketing campaign. This is a interviewer asking them a question and they are responding with humor. And you were so insecure, You're so insecure. It's giving small brain energy. Anyway, the point is that you're insecure, and anytime somebody asks something like this, which by the way, again, I think that this is like the reporters in the magazines trying to get clickbaity stuff that they can run with headlines, which I think is egregious. I wish they would stop doing it so that these bullies wouldn't have ammo, because until this came out, they were literally just talking about, oh, the titles keep changing. Oh, it's full of people from WandaVision. Who asked for this? Now you literally gave them ammo. You gave them ammo. And I hate that it has to be that way, because as a queer person, I think it's exciting when you have a project coming out and they're like, oh, this might have some like elements in it that, I don't know, are representative of this community. But you can't even get excited about stuff because I have to fight with these fuckers every time. We can't have jack shit. We can't have anything. Literally, something comes out made by a queer person. We have to fight about it every single time. It's so infuriating from these fucking cavemen numbskulls.
I think it is.
I'm told.
Are you kidding me? Oh, there's more. Just wait, there's more.
It's been described to me that Agatha is the gayest project Marvel has ever done. Agree?
I would agree with that, yeah.
Why is it?
You'll see. You'll see when you watch it. But, you know, I think witches are queer inherently just because we are outcast and, like, set aside for many reasons. And I think this show shows a really good representation of different types of people, and that we can all use the power we have in it within to, like...
By the way, I love her outfit. Shout out to her stylist. That is legit. I love it. The whole look, head to toe.
Go forth and be great.
It's been described to me.
Oh, it continues, ladies and gentlemen.
It's been described as the gayest Marvel project ever. Do you agree?
I mean, I think it's pretty, well, what is the most exciting about it is that that's not exactly what it's about. It's so normalized, but yeah, I definitely think it is.
It's been described as the gayest.
So she literally jumps in and says, that's not what it's about. So she's clearing the air, because I think she understands what the media is doing here. She understands the direction it's going with them. They know that asking people involved in a production that has some sort of queer story to tell, that asking them questions like this, very loaded questions, will trend into the negative on clickbaity outrage stuff. And she doesn't even want to play into it. And I have to give her credit for that, because the reality is it could just come out and we could see it for ourselves. We don't need all of this. And again, I blame Variety and some of these outlets for this shit.
Unbelievable, man. Alan Ing says the problem with Agatha all along is terrible storytelling. It's all about witchcraft and the rules of witchcraft, which are made up along the way to serve the plot. If you know,
like any story about witches ever, because witchcraft is not real. There are no real witches running around casting spells. So any story elements that are made up about the characters when it comes to the magic will serve the plot. That's the fucking point of a story. Alan is a numbskull. He's an idiot, and he said some really dumb stuff. He was the one, I believe, I made a video where I talked about them saying that they wanted a sexier Ms. Marvel. They wanted a sexier teenage character. So excuse me if I don't take any sort of lessons from him on how to make content. Him and Chris Gore asking for sexier teenage characters is what he wanted. That's interesting.
Know nothing about witches, this story offers no magic. And what's weird about all of this is we get these reports about Inside Out 2 from IGN. Inside Out 2 required edits to avoid LGBTQ themes. The edits included making the main character, Riley, appear less gay, as well as putting special care into making the relationship between Riley and Val seem as platonic as possible. A source describes it as just doing a lot of extra work to make sure that no one would potentially see them as not straight. What was the response to that, by the way? The highest grossing movie of the year, and the highest grossing movie that...
No, that's not... You guys are so, again, media illiterate. So you're like, oh, it doesn't have a gay relationship? $1 billion movie. Where you're still talking about things like how witchcraft plays into the story and the plot of the series. So which is it? Which is it? Is it the quality of the stuff? Or is it the gay themes in the stuff? Which one is it? You guys can't pick because you're media illiterate numbskull bullies. That's the problem.
That Disney's had in a long time. Inside Out 2, something that not a lot of people were expecting to be a huge hit. I watched Inside.
And Deadpool, also massively successful, featured a pansexual character with lots of gay humor in it. also massively successful. So I'm trying to figure out, I mean, like, what is it? Is putting gay stuff in things automatically mean it's a failure or nah? Or nah? Which one is it, Jeremy? I'm just trying to figure it out. Because it's almost like you're building a narrative around a very specific thing, and it doesn't make any sense.
Inside Out 2, I thought it was fine. I don't think it takes us back to the glory days of Pixar, but I enjoyed the movie. I did enjoy Inside Out 2.
So you didn't even think it was a fantastic movie. It made $1.6 billion. And so you're attributing that to the lack of gayness in it, even though you're admitting that the movie was just okay to you. It's almost like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
And as you see, they're obviously aware of what this type of marketing does, and yet here you have the Agatha all along crap.
So they were aware of it, but here they are doing it. Make it make sense, Jeremy. If you're claiming that this is advertising and this is marketing being pushed down by Disney through these access media outlets, then explain how, like, the cognitive dissonance in your mind is so fucking mind-numbing. Is Disney erasing queerness or are they pushing queerness? Which one is it? It's like that meme with the button. Which one are you pushing? Which one is it, Jeremy? I don't know. I don't think you fucking know.
Cast and crew leaning right into it. And listen, I have zero interest in Agatha all along. Zero interest whatsoever.
Good. Don't watch it and don't talk about it. That would be great. I think we would all really appreciate it to have a series we can watch without you guys shitting on it every single week because you don't want to watch it. Just don't watch it. If you have no interest in it, don't watch it. But we're in a dry spell right now. The Bullies here on YouTube, there's a dry spell because they claim that wokeness is going away, and so there's not a lot for them to talk about. So because this is the most recent Disney series, regardless of whether or not it's good, regardless of whether or not people like it, they are going to frame it as a negative. They're going to demean it and they're going to pseudo-slur it by calling it the next Acolyte. This is what we're going to have to deal with for the next couple of weeks. Probably longer. I think some of them will give up after a few weeks, but some of them are going to ride this all the way out. I suspect Heel versus Babyface is going to do it. Nerdrotic is going to do it. Possibly Ryan Cannell, maybe a few others. They're going to ride this all the way to the bank because they lost the Acolyte. They need to make money. So their next target is a show about women that has queer characters that isn't overtly for them. Because again, representation matters to them.
But if we're going to get Acolyte level shit, then hey, I might have to watch it just so I can grift off of it.
There
because,
we go.
Hey, the internet says I'm a grifter.
Just so he can grift off of it. And then he follows that up with because the internet says I'm a grifter. Let's hear that again. Let's do that. Let's run that back.
Just so I can grift off of it because, hey, the internet says I'm a grifter. I might as well live up to my reputation, baby.
You might as well.
But yeah, this is a failed marketing campaign. This is not going to make
not
anyone
a
want to watch
marketing
your show,
campaign.
generally speaking. And this is only going to turn people away. So again, you're going down the road of the Acolyte.
Actually, a lot of people I know are excited for the series because of this. And it's still not a marketing campaign. It's questions on the red carpet premiere.
It didn't work out very well. Marvel Cinematic Universe and these idiots have not learned anything. As a grifter,
Deadpool and Wolverine made over $1 billion. It might even be 1.5. I know it was close. So what do they need to learn? Leave queerness in or take it out? Which one is it? Which one is it, Jeremy? I'd like for you to answer that. From one of the biggest movies they put out this year. An MCU film. What do they need to learn from that? Just curious.
Extraordinaire myself, I say please continue talking like this so people like me can take full advantage of your stupidity. I'm completely okay with that, but you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you.
Yeah, so there he goes admitting that they are just going to take advantage of this and make money off of it, which is why I would implore people that work for these outlets, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, all of them, stop asking this question specifically. Let the team, the creative team behind the series, if they're going to bring up something like this and they want to use it for their series to promote their series, let them do it. Stop doing this on the red carpet. It's very TikTok-y, it's very Instagram reely. It's like these marketing things where you want to get a very short tidbit of information and you want to make it so that people will click on it and watch it and be upset about it. That's the reason why you do it. That's the reason why. I don't think there's any positive reason for them to do this. I feel like they know what the reaction is going to be and they're going to do it. These bullies are going to run with it. And that's what I'm going to start calling them. They are all bullies. All of them. No longer ChudTube, no longer GriftTube. From here on out, these channels are bullies. They bully actors, they bully writers, they bully directors, they bully people behind the creative space here because they're no longer just going after Disney now. They are literally going to start going after individual people involved with these projects, and they are bullies.